This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have a Whirlpool Series 70 dryer, gas dryer, that is not responding at all when we press the start button. Tried moving the timer around and pressing start, nothing happens. Double checked that it had power at the power plug, and the power plug does have power. So I'm going to remove the back and see if the little thermal fuse maybe is tripped. So I'm just removing all these perimeter screws. This comes off pretty fast. And once I get all the screws off, I'm going to remove this vent tube also. Take the clamp off and then get that off. And then the back panel comes right off. And then I'm going to set my meter for continuity, and I'm going to check this. You can hear it when it has continuity. I'm going to check this little white thermal fuse down here, and I want to hear the beep showing that it has continuity and see that there's a digital continuity reading. And that one does have continuity. Sometimes if that one is blown, not only will you not have heat, but you also won't have anything. The machine won't start at all. So that one actually does work. So while I have the machine open, I'm also checking the outside leads of the thermostat and also checking these two high limits that are up here on the heat stack to make sure everything has continuity. And these would actually affect, they wouldn't affect whether it starts or not. These would affect whether it heats or not. But I just thought I'd check them while it's open. And they all have continuity. So something else is preventing the power from getting to the motor and from getting to the heater. And it can be the timer, but that's actually pretty rare. Usually the timers last a long time. But there is a kind of a weak part of this assembly, and that's the door switch. So I'm going to just check that. I open the door, take a look at the upper right hand corner. I can see there's the little lever, but that lever does click, but it should be longer. It should be longer by about 1/4 of an inch, so part of it broke off. When the door closes, it doesn't push in on that lever, it doesn't complete the circuit, and now we just gotta go ahead and change that, which is really easy. I'm just gonna put the screws back on the back panel, get that done, and then I'm gonna go ahead and remove the top panel. That's gonna give me access to that door switch, and those door switch is pretty cheap. I'll put a link in the description below so you can click on that and get you a new door switch. Sometimes when you press the door switch, you'll notice that there's no clicking feel and no clicking sound, and that would be also a good time to replace that door switch. In this case it does click, but it's not long enough. So I'm removing the two Phillips head screws here from the top after I took out the filter. I got it unplugged, and now I'm going to lift up on the front of the top panel, and the top panel will just hinge up out of the way. And down here in the lower right hand corner, or upper right hand corner, is the modular connector for the switch. I'm going to use just a paint scraper to separate that. You could use a small standard head screwdriver, would help too, to just pull apart that modular connector. I'm just going to remove the two Phillips head screws here from where the mount is for the door switch. They just come right out. And then I'll go ahead and replace the door switch by coming in from the top with the new one. I want to make sure that the little projection, the black bar, is going into this opening and it's pointing out toward away from the dryer. So if you look at the switch, you'll see that it has this little arm coming out that has a slight bend. You want that bend to point out away from the dryer. So I got the top lifted. I'm going to go ahead and put that little switch in the new one and have it pointed away. And then I'm going to put Phillips head screws, the same ones I took out. I'm going to put them up through, that's near the top of the door, to engage this new switch. And then I'll go ahead and just tighten up those Phillips head screws, and that's got that switch mounted where it needs to be. And then all I have to do is just connect the modular connector as part of that circuit, make sure that it's fully locked together, And then I'm going to go ahead and just bring the top panel back down so that it locks in on its two spring clips to hold the top panel down. And that should do the trick. So I'm just pushing that top panel back down, making sure it clicks in place. And go ahead and give it a little test here. So I'll close the door and press start. And now we have a dryer that's working. This little thing's upside down. I'm going to fix that too while I'm here. Yeah, so it's spinning. It's got power again. So it's just the door switch. Pretty cheap part. Again, I'll put a little link in the description below. And I'm going to go ahead and add those Phillips head screws back in to hold the top panel in. And I'll put the filter back in place, and we are done. So these are a couple things you can check when you have a no power situation. It could be that little thermal fuse in the back that we looked at. It could be the door switch, which we replaced. And it could also be the timer, which is less likely. Sometimes even the button that you push, that is the start button, will kind of get out of alignment. And if you pull on it first and then push it back in, it can fix it. I'm putting a little liquid gel crazy glue on this plastic piece to set it in correctly. Somebody had put it in upside down. Just going to hold it there for a little bit. That'll fix that. And this dryer is going to do well. These are, by the way, really good dryers. These typically last 25. I've seen them last even 30 years. Really well made by Whirlpool. So I hope that helps you with your gas dryer too. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance, and we'll send you a lot more repair videos. Thanks again.